Let's talk about the ethics of cancel culture with one of the most controversial questions in society. When making cereal, does the milk come before or after in the sequence? Now, listen, people can argue for before, like milk before the cereal, and people can argue for after, so milk after the cereal, but I think that there is only one acceptable solution, and it's in this order. Bowl cereal, milk, and then at last, spoon. Otherwise, like, how else are you gonna eat your cereal? And listen, if you add fruits or other things like honey and yogurt, that's up to you. But as you enjoy your nice bowl of cereal with big spoons, and then you have leftover milk, you know, because you enjoyed your cereal so much that you just left the milk, you can add more cereal if you're still hungry. So, say what you want, but I think milk comes before cereal in that case. Milk comes before cereal. So, say what you want, but I think milk comes before cereal.
Cancel culture. You love to hate it, and you hate to love it. If you don't feel either way, you probably haven't had reason to. Yet. As shown by my little social experiment, and despite me taking these statistics only a day or so after I put these clips up, the reactions were almost immediate. Anyway, the point of me doing this was to illustrate how easy it is for someone's words to be taken out of context. The 21st century has been called the information era, and it's no secret that with the aid of the internet, social media platforms, and celebrities, that we were able to learn a lot more from each other. Advances in technology have made it so easy for people to share things, but misunderstandings and miscommunication are bound to happen with so much information at the tip of our fingers. One way misinformation can be made aware of, though, is through this little thing called cancel culture. While this term is by no means new, it's been recently gaining more attention with the rise of celebrities. And let me make this clear, this video is by no means a hate video or some sort of targeted attack on any individuals mentioned, but rather that's something that serves to inform those watching about the effects of cancel culture in fandoms. Also on a random note, and since it's something I need to address anyway, the topic that I'm exploring is the importance of fan involvement in cancel culture, and since it's June as of the time I'm making this, I'm gonna involve the involvement of the LGBTQ+ as well. But before we continue, let's establish what a couple of terms mean. It's important to understand the history that surrounds this topic and not just what it means in modern times. First up is cancel culture. To quote an article from the Social Science Journal, because I think its definition encompasses what we're trying to explain here, quote, "Cancel culture is defined as the withdrawal of support for individuals who have acted in a way deemed to be unacceptable or problematic related to social media, viewership, or the purchase of products or services." End quote. This withdrawal of support, or canceling, is important because although they may get away with a slap on the wrist and whatever was said brushed aside, others may not be so lucky. An example of this, which I mentioned in my pitch, is the case of the 100. To give a brief overview of what happened, Lexa, a lesbian character, had died after she had gotten together with her love interest Clark. The fans obviously didn't take too well to this as they felt that they were queer-baited and went to Twitter to make their dissatisfaction known to the public. About 14,000 of them had unfollowed the developer of the series, while others tweeted out their criticisms, making sure that the show itself didn't receive any more attention. Although this was an example of something getting cancelled, individuals aren't immune from this type of treatment either. Enter celebrities. While the term celebrity has shifted from what we once knew, with its original definition mainly pertaining to the condition of being famous to now include famous individuals, it's important to note that the attention that they receive is what differentiates them from everyday people. The following that they accumulate, either directly through social media, followers, or passively through something like word of mouth, is what I believe gives them this title. This following brings us to our next term, fans. Now you might be familiar with its definition, meaning a person who has a strong interest in a particular person or thing, but the term dates a little further than that. Fan was first used in the late 17th century as an abbreviation of the word fanatic, a description for religious zealots. While its roots in Latin, fanaticus, literally translates to temple servant or devotee, it quickly assumed a more negative connotation, meaning of inspired persons by enthusiastic frenzy, to quote the Oxford Latin Dictionary. It wasn't until the 19th century that the abbreviated form fan was first used in reference to professional sports teams by journalistic accounts. Now we can start talking about fandom. Fandoms are a sociocultural phenomenon that's mostly associated with mass culture and public performance. It's a response to specific conditions that revolve around fan culture and interactions between fans. Or to put simply, it's a group of people who share a common interest and create a subculture that surrounds that interest. Some of you may think that the first fandom was from a movie, a TV show, or a book, but you'd be wrong. You all know about Shakespeare. We've all either had to read his works or perform some recreation of his play in English class. I'll admit though that I lucked out and had to do neither, but I mention this because if we're going to talk about fandoms, then the response that the playwright received during the 15th century and even until now by people who are interested with it, aka the fandom, should be considered. Fast forward a couple of years, centuries later, and fandoms are basically everywhere. You want a fandom about plants? There's one for that. What about dogs? We got one for that too. What about that one video game that keeps dying out but gets popular every something or so years? You see where I'm going with this yet? Minecraft is a 3D sandbox game which was developed by Swedish studio Mojang in 2009. The debate of who had brought light on the game has been widely debated, but we can agree to disagree that it was the people that played it that brought together its first communities. These people, typically known as content creators in the gaming community and wider media, had amassed a following for purely Minecraft content. Some notable names are Stampy Longhead, popular MMOs, Skydus Minecraft, and Captain Sparkles, some of which still make similar content while others have broadened their content horizon. Content creators, or CCs, have focused on building and growing their community. This can result in them having some sort of influence over the people that watch them, as the media has always had a role in exposing communities to things like changing gender roles and non-heteronormative comments. And with a game like Minecraft, whose avatar/player model is specifically designed to be generic and genderless, creators that utilize the medium are equally important to the discussion of gender and gender roles. The best way to properly explain how this ties to cancel culture, though, is through two Minecraft communities, the Yogscast and the Dream SMP. One case is where an individual creator that was part of an entertainment company made comments and allusions to queer topics and did not get any noticeable repercussions despite being heterosexual. The other case is a group of creators that get cancelled for trivial things who are either in the LGBTQ+ community or in support of the community. Shin had the largest individual gaming channel in the UK and was part of the Yogscast, a channel that focused on showcasing video games as well as entertaining audiences. As his demographic mainly targeted adolescent males, his audience was exposed to instances of sexual innuendo and queer discourse as he interacted with other members of the Yogscast. The most notable of these queer interactions happened in videos with Shin and Sips, another member of the Yogscast. While him and the other members were aware of the type of comments they were making, with some of Shin's friends even letting him know their discomfort about them, they never got cancelled. On the flip side, we have the Dream SMP. Wait, there's an IMDb for this? The Dream SMP, or Survival Multiplayer, is a Minecraft server that began on the 25th of April 2020. It originally started as a normal server with friends just playing with each other, but as time progressed and more people joined, it evolved into a well-built world with deep lore and interconnecting stories. The significance of this server is the community that surrounds it. The Dream SMP isn't a company like the Yogscast, but rather a group of streamers and CCs with independent communities that come together to enjoy the story and creator interactions. People like artists, writers, and lyricists contribute to the growing amount of content that gets produced, and has become a place of comfort for a lot of young people due to the overall acceptance and representation that the streamers provide. Creators such as Aimsy, Anne Frost, Ronbu, Arid, and even Dream himself have expressed their participation and support for the LGBTQ+ community, just to name a couple of examples. The Dream SMP, much like Shin's community, has a young demographic, with the youngest ages ranging from 13 to 14 years old. Despite fans no longer just taking everything at face value to now being able to discern what the underlying meaning of messages are, the understanding of context, or lack of understanding in some cases, can be problematic for CCs and their community. The good and the bad of cancel culture are discussed through ideological purity. This means that an individual who had made a problematic comment years ago, despite no longer being the same person, could be held accountable to the standards of cancel culture. As a result, cancel culture isn't even safe from being cancelled. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's easy for someone's words to be taken out of context nowadays. Canceling was originally used as a way to highlight the wrongdoings of influential people and build a camaraderie by combating social injustice as a group. But fans, and more specifically people who want attention or just don't like certain creators, have the ability to cancel CCs over nothing and have them and their content basically censored. This isn't to say that CCs who have actually committed some serious allegations haven't gotten cancelled, because they have. But it seems like a content creator gets cancelled every couple of weeks over misinformation, leading to community panic about their favorite CC getting cancelled or a boy who cried wolf situation. So, what does this all mean in the end? The short version? Cancel culture is a big gray area. The long version is that cancel culture is a proverbial gun that society chooses whether or not to fire. For the right reasons, cancel culture can be a powerful tool that puts a spotlight on important social issues such as race, sexuality, gender, religion, and the list goes on. But for the wrong ones, it can be used to silence the marginalized and lead to censorship through the power of the people. Canceling should not overshadow the original reason for the act, so be sure that your participation is not just misinformed effort.